Hello and welcome to Broad Little Lies with Amanda, Shandy, and Colleen. My name is Colleen.
My name is Amanda.
And I'm Shandy.
And welcome, everybody. So back in the early days of the broadcast, a.k.a. Season 1 of the broadcast, we actually did a podcast on Big Little Lies Season 1. And it was all the feedback that we had gotten for it. We compiled it. We had special guest Angela Bloom on it. We had a great discussion. So we thought that if anybody is subscribing to the feed now and wants to hear our thoughts on Season 1 of Big Little Lies, we would share this now so you can go back and listen to it. So without further ado, here we go.
Broadcast.
Hello and welcome to the broadcast, episode 41.5, our special Big Little Lies feedback episode. I am Colleen.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Shandy.
And joining us once again is the lovely
Angela. That's me. That's my name.
And Josiah in the house. And
I'm
Josiah
here.
in his house.
What up?
All right, so we are going to be talking about, we got a lot of feedback about Big Little Lies, and in the name of time and exporting and levelating, we decided to make post-production a whole lot easier and your listening experience, and release this episode a little bit separately, also because we know that not everybody has seen Big Little Lies, so...
Also, for those of you who felt like it was a really long time to wait in between episodes since we took a little spring break, we are making that up for you now. With a little bonus.
Good
Instantaneous double episode.
That's what we call a silver lining.
Exactly. That was my nickname in college, so.
Silver lining.
Silver lining shide. I'm good at
No
that.
way. Really?
For real, yeah. That's like my outlook on life is like, but did you consider this?
That's pretty awesome.
This is the cool
That's
side.
like a really great nickname.
Cool. I like it.
The world is ending. But had you considered? Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
Looking on the
good.
bright side.
On the bright side, you know, I watched the Ellen with what's her name?
Reese Witherspoon?
Nope. Celeste. Nicole Kidman. Giada. Oh my god, it's so funny and awkward.
With Giada,
I
like
can't
De Laurentiis?
stand Giada. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the worst.
She's a chef.
She's like a Food Network personality.
Oh, okay.
But anyway,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, let's just jump right into this. I think we had some feedback about it in the Facebook group. Do we want to read that real quick?
We can read that, and while we're looking for that, I just wanted to say also my husband
Is
had
French?
started this. Yes. He had started it with me, but he watched the first episode and then like didn't watch it forever. And I was like, dude, you have to watch this. Like,
I know,
you're gonna love it.
I'm like a
And he-
pusher. Like I keep forcing my husband to watch it. Like
And
it's,
is he like
no,
into
and
it now?
it's no because
Oh,
he hasn't watched it yet.
Well,
I'm
okay,
like,
see, that's
Does
the problem.
watch
Yeah.
a podcast about 17,000 other shows.
correct. Yeah,
That's true.
No,
But
it's-
this
He's a
one is
little
really good.
preoccupied.
Well, so my husband finally like watched a couple of episodes and then like halfway through like got really into it and was like, you know, like really excited to watch the end. And he was messaging me after he watched the finale and he was like, oh my God, that was the most feminist thing I've watched in so long. Like that was so good. And he loves Madeline. That's like his favorite character of
That's
the whole
so fun.
series. And
Huh.
the episode where she pukes at the table at that dinner, he
Oh.
thinks that's like the funniest thing ever.
That's actually
so
my favorite
amazing.
too.
Really?
that's so
Yeah, it's
amazing.
like so absurd.
My
Yes,
God.
yes, but and that's why he loves her because she's like quirky and just
She's
like,
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
she tries
yes,
so
yes.
hard to be so perfect, and like she just
Yeah.
like it just literally just explodes from her body.
Yeah.
She like no one can you exhaust yourself trying to be perfect, and that's like
Yeah.
the perfect like metaphor of that. Like,
Purge,
she
yeah.
just can't keep up the facade.
Yes, and I
And it's
understand
just like perfectly cast too. I feel like they
Oh.
did such an amazing job.
they did a great job. Everybody,
Yeah.
I mean, they should all win awards for things. Especially
Yeah,
Nicole
and I'm like-
Kidman, though. She's
and I'm like,
fantastic.
If she doesn't get nominated for Emmys and Golden Globes, and there's just like, come on, it's HBO, it's Nicole, like, come on.
And I feel like I'm specifically already married to Adam Scott. Like I feel like he is my home. like I already feel like they're the same person. So it's
Yeah.
like really hard for me to like not already feel like he's in Big Little Lies. So I really relate to his.
Well, except okay. So the thing with that character is
Weird.
yes, like we had talked. Amanda and I had talked about how like we got this really weird vibe from him the way he was looking at his stepdaughter that one time, and my husband, independently of me, was like, "Yeah, that was really weird. Like that felt weird." I was like, "Thank you." Not the only
no,
one.
I didn't think this.
me and Amanda were the only ones.
You did, because I love Adam Scott too much, and
Me too.
I just see
the
his
problem.
character
Yeah.
from like
Yeah.
I just see like
Parks and
Ben
Rec.
from Parks and Rec, and I just
Exactly.
like nope, he'll never be creepy. I can't go there.
I didn't get the
Can't,
creep.
won't.
So I saw the creepy factor. I talked about this with you, Shandy, and then I attribute it to the fact that it was kind of just trying to show that he was sexually frustrated. So I thought that was a clue that was going all the
Doesn't make
way.
it better. Like
it doesn't
you're
make
sexually
it-
frustrated, so you're looking creepily at your stepdaughter.
Well, creepily is
that's exactly. As
I think we're supposed to show
creepy
that he's a
as
man
you
with
thought.
feelings, but she didn't
No,
want it.
but no,
She didn't want
no,
the tea,
no,
so
he's
he didn't
not-
act
no.
on it. He didn't act on it.
No, that's his fucking daughter. It doesn't matter if it's his stepdaughter or
I
not.
never
like,
saw any of that, so I didn't get that vibe from him at all. So.
All right, let's get into the Facebook group.
Anyway.
we could just bait another fucking hour on this show because we've done a lot of it so far. So let's just see what the listeners want to debate us on. Lori said, I finished the book. Wow, holy twist at the end. Is the TV show pretty much the same? I'm definitely going to watch it. Wondering if I can finally listen to episode 37 before I watch the show. Does anything else happen that wasn't in the book? Mandy says, not anything big, as the twist in the end happens in the show. I enjoyed the book. And then she says, try A Husband's Secret if you want to read another thing from the author. Angela, have you read the book?
Yeah, so I read the book, and I mean, she's pretty much right. I would say that the main difference is that the only thing that's missing from the TV show is that Bonnie is given a backstory, where she really isn't given. She's given one in the book where she isn't given one in the TV show. You know, and that sort of is like a big deal because it explains a lot more why she does what she does. Whereas in the TV show, you're sort of like, wait, why is it Bonnie? You know, like, or, you know, like you're very caught off guard. But I mean, besides that, it's all very much similar. There's a few nuanced things, but they do a pretty good job of keeping it in line. And I would say I almost prefer the TV show. They bring the characters to life a little bit more.
I think that's what somebody else said in one of the Facebook groups too. Actually, they prefer the TV show.
I think, yeah.
Oh, no,
one of the
actually,
emails,
wait.
I think, yeah.
I think Joanne says in the email that we're about to read.
She does.
That's just so that's my personal taste, but yeah, we can read Joanne's email as well. But that's my personal taste. I feel like that they bring the characters a little bit to life, just through the acting a little bit more. But that's just how I read it. So I feel like it just depends on how you read the book. But were there any more Facebook comments?
I think that was pretty much it. Everything else has been sent to us as feedback. Which, do you want to do the honors?
Yeah, so to the broads from Joanne. She says, I just finished reading Big Little Lies, and I will keep this as spoiler-free as possible, which we will most likely not be doing in this in this discussion.
Oh, yeah.
While the book was very good, I prefer the TV series, like we said. There are many differences, including the participants in the big scene and the aftermath. I would say the main extra missing from the TV show, and that was pointed out by a previous listener, is that Bonnie is given a backstory to explain her actions. Although it was not given until the actual incident and was not in depth, beyond that extra book tidbit, there are not nearly as many interpersonal conflicts in the book, which I feel added more substance and more guessing about the ending to the TV version. And to return to the discussion on your last show about the abuse, it was definitely all physical in the book with none of the sexual undertones and overtones of the TV series. I wonder if the different depiction has anything to do with the culture, as the book is set in Australia. It is not that I think abuse is different, just how discussion and depiction might be affected by how the topic is normally viewed in different cultures. Likely no way to know for sure. Yeah, so I mean, I don't think that I necessarily felt as strongly as Joanne did that it was like 100% not sexually overtoned in the book. I did think that there was a little bit of sexual overtone. I think that there was, it was hard to say that there wasn't any at all because their relationship was a little sexually charged. But yeah, they definitely amped that up for the TV show. I mean, they made it mostly sexual.
You got that Skarsgård and that Skarsgård peen, which I think Shandy leaned right, if I remember correctly.
I don't think we ever saw. But
yeah.
No, and I think it's interesting to think about the differences of culture.
For sure.
And I would say that it's actually maybe not so much a difference in like Australian and American culture per se, so much as it is a difference in TV culture. Like it's HBO. And so we talked about kind of the last time about how things are sexualized and like that's
and visual versus literature.
Well, yeah.
Yes,
how do you bring something that's, a visual component to just words?
Well, it's very easy to visually show physical abuse. Like it doesn't have to turn sexual, but I think, and that's where I had said in a previous episode that like, for me, that was where I was like a little bit iffy on it. Like I didn't like that the show was sort of making it like a little bit sexy / a little bit abusive and then tipping the scale more and more abusive, because I just felt like when it's not really clear if it's supposed to be sexy or not, I think that for a certain audience, they could confuse the two.
Yeah, I know. And I think Amanda and I had argued at that point that it wasn't that they were trying to make it sexy in our minds. It was they were trying to show how when you're in that situation, sometimes the lines are so blurred that you don't know the difference. And we kind of, the way that Celeste was figuring it out, that more and more that it was not their sex life, so to speak. It was more, abuse that was and it just kind of kept
clouded
coming.
For her.
It was clouded for her, and that's kind of how I think that's very real life, where it's not a cut and dry thing.
And we were almost seeing it through her lens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whereas I think as the show progressed, whereas in the book, when you read the book, you're reading the book from almost a narrative perspective, where you're seeing it mostly from a certain abusive perspective the entire time. Whereas in the TV show, you really are seeing it from the characters' perspectives. Yeah. Whereas it's not that way in the book. You're seeing it from a pretty outward lens the whole time, where, it is a mystery, but you really aren't delving too deep into the fact that, like, Celeste is the one who, like, you think like, oh, okay, maybe he is an okay person. Maybe he is just like that's just how they have sex.
I think that's the psychology of an abuse victim. It doesn't start always, and even an abuser, it doesn't always start out as straight up being punched because you disagree in a fight. Like, or you didn't do the dishes the right way or whatever it is. Like sometimes it is something that starts and then it escalates. Like, that's kind of very real life. That's very realistic to me.
And I wasn't 100% sure, because of how they were doing it, that they were going to follow what the book had.
Oh, with the ending, yeah.
Like even just like from the get-go, because of the way that Celeste and her husband were acting, and how sexualized it was, and how like the abuse was being portrayed, I wasn't sure that they were following the book like word for word. Yeah. I was like, maybe they're just taking this as like a guideline and they're creating a whole new story.
Yeah.
And that's a really interesting point, because it's like when you're adapting something from a book, and I mean, I knew nothing about it going into it, but I would imagine, the book probably had enough of a following that they decided to make a show out of it that like there is something to be said about how can we make the story exciting and different so that someone who read the book isn't bored.
Yeah.
How can we tease everybody? So it's like that's an interesting point,
and from what my sister
that the directors and the show creators thought about when they were building the story and they were building the style in which they were going to shoot it.
Yeah. And from what my sisters have said, and they've both read the book, is that they were I think Mandy said this too, that they were all in suspense while watching that final scene because even though you know it's going to happen, it's slightly different. It's, just different enough that you don't know for sure what's going to happen.
And I wasn't convinced that it was going to be Bonnie. I up until the final scene, I didn't think it was going to, I wasn't sure it was going to be Bonnie, and I wasn't sure that Alexander Skarsgård was going to die. Yeah. Like, I wasn't sure.
And as a storyteller that is adapting someone else's story, that's what you want to do. That like someone who knows what's happening is still like, oh, well, maybe that's not what's going to happen. Like that's crazy. Like hitting the ball out of the park from like a story.
I was like, this is wacky. And like, I was like, maybe Celeste is going to die. I was like, oh crap, this would be crazy if she died. Like, I would be pissed. Like, I was going to be furious, and like, it was crazy. But I mean, overall, I was like on pins and needles the whole time. I was dying. It was probably one of the best things I've seen in a long time. And I think that it had a really, and I think that it had a really solid, whether it be the message that you felt was appropriate, it had a message, which I think isn't always the case. And I think that it said something, whether that was something that you agreed with or not, it definitely had a point of view, which sometimes isn't always the case with these HBO shows. I think you're right, Shandy, when you say like it can be overly sexualized. And I mean, that can be the case with HBO stuff. And I think that, I think that they found a way to make it a little bit more of a statement than it could have been.
Oh, right. And I mean, like, I think, like, when I think of HBO, like, I mean, the biggest example that comes to mind is, of course, Game of Thrones, where, like, they really shit. And I love Game of Thrones, but they really shit the bed on a couple of different times with the way that they use rape in that show.
Unnecessary rape,
Right. Yeah. As like a male's plot point a lot of times. But that being said, like
spectacle rape.
Honestly, and one of the reasons why I just don't watch the show. Like I just can't.
To further the story about some dude, they're gonna rape a woman. But anyway,
hey, Amanda, Colleen.
I mean, that being said, like,
sorry, I just started playing the next phone call by accident.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that, like, I had that one caveat, and I had, like, that's like the one thing that's like kind of in my mind. But overall, I agree with you, Angela. Like, there's definitely a really strong message, and I think that overall it's a success. And I really, really liked the show. So I'm not like, super complaining about it. I just think that it's something to consider, and it's something to discuss and be aware of. That's it.
And I would agree with you if we didn't see Celeste, the person that was experiencing it, realized that it was not okay. It was not sexy. It was not her sex life.
Almost he almost like looks back on her.
So I think
I think it's almost, for me, it's almost like a more of like a reader response, like, kind of lens that I'm seeing it through, where I'm realizing that so much of the population is so stupid that, like, would they get that?
No, you're right. I mean, it's true. 'Cause I saw a lot of response to it, especially after the airing of the finale, where people were like, I can't believe that, like, he was the one who was, like, doing it. And people still don't realize that, like, he was the one who raped Shailene Woodley's character. It drives me insane that, like, he's the one who is the father of Ziggy. Like,
and that drives me crazy. People, what? I didn't even know. How could you not know? The acting was so good.
I know.
How's it a thing?
Like, they literally showed us that he was the person. She held a gun to him, and her, like,
I know, but like even when Shailene Woodley looks at Nicole Kidman,
that's amazing,
and like when they have that moment together, those two should get all the awards.
Literally, I sat there watching it, and I was like, that's why these caliber actors wanted to do this show for that scene.
Yep.
Like, that's like acting, like, look at me go, like, look at,
like, they look at each other and they have like a moment where it just like everything becomes clear, and it's just like their entire worlds fall apart, and you're just like, I was just like broken, and I was like, no.
It's like an acting grand slam.
I told you, I watched that scene like 15 times in a row. Like it's so amazing.
So good.
All the feels, all the chills, all the awards.
All the feels.
Yeah, seriously. All right, so we have a voicemail from Desiree, so let's see what Desiree can say that we're going to argue about in a second.
Hit us.
Bring it.
Hey, Amanda, Colleen, and Shandy. This is Des. I was just calling to talk about Big Little Lies. I went ahead and watched it because, everybody was saying it was really good. It didn't interest me at first because, I'm not really into, like, murder mysteries and things like that. But I thought I'd give it a try because, getting such good reviews from everybody. So I watched it and I really enjoyed it. I could not stop watching. Each episode I finished, I was like, I just want to watch the next episode. Of course, I didn't have time to do this, watch all the episodes in a row, but I would have if I had the time. It was great. First of all, being somebody who has lived most of their adult life below the poverty line, there's no way in hell Jane could afford that little house on a part-time salary as a single mother. I have been a single mother, and I have not been able to afford a house that expensive on a part-time salary. I've always had to work full-time to afford to raise my children on my own. And even then, it was really tight. So that was bullshit. But I was able to forgive it because it's TV. And then going into this show at the beginning, I was like, these are all those mothers that I can't stand in real life. These perfect little well-to-do moms. They're just really annoying. I have nothing in common with them. I don't identify with them at all. I don't like them. I don't get along with them. I don't like being around them. But, you shouldn't, I guess, judge a book by its cover because they are actually much deeper characters than that. And you were able to see that they had problems just like anybody else. In fact, I was able to identify with most of those characters in the end. Just Renata and her being upset about her daughter getting bullied, because there's nothing worse than your child being hurt and not being able to do anything about it. I think any parent can identify with that. And then Madeline and her getting upset about her children getting older and moving on, and her not, just being that mother. And what else was she? And I could definitely identify with that. Once, my children were getting older, I was like, oh my God, my children are leaving me. What else do I have? Nothing. But of course now I have Astrid, so I can be a mother for another 18 years. So that's nice. But it was really compelling. And at first, I'm going to do a little spoilers here, but at first I didn't know if I liked the fact that Perry was the person who had raped Jane, but then when I thought about it a little bit, I was like, yeah, I kind of like that, because he was an awful person, and it was very coincidental, of course, because of course she happened to move to this place, so where he was there, and it's like, well, how did she not recognize him before that? But she never even met him until that moment, I'm guessing. I don't remember seeing them interact or be around each other before that, so I guess that did work. But yeah, I do kind of like it because it just showed that, he was just a truly awful person, even though they tried to make him semi-sympathetic a little bit, I think. Yeah, so I kind of like that. And the fact that it was Bonnie that did it, I had no problem with that. I thought that was interesting. It was definitely what you were not expecting. And the fact that these mothers could come together at the end, in spite of their differences and their feelings, because they went through this together, and they were, stronger for going through this together, and they were able to bond, was really great. So I really, really enjoyed it. I'm trying to get my husband to watch it. Excuse me. he keeps saying, okay, I'll start it. I don't think he thinks he's going to like it, but I think he's going to love it. So I'll try and get him to watch it. Anyways, just wanted to tell you, thanks for recommending it. And thanks for putting that big spoiler warning when you guys talked about it, because I did think I might want to watch it, and I didn't want to spoil myself if I did, and I'm glad I didn't, because it was well worth not knowing what was happening, and it was nice to be able to go back to the podcast and listen to you guys talk about it after I was done watching it. So anyways, love you guys. Bye.
See, I'm the greatest for my spoiler warning, but it's really funny how Shandy, Angela, and I have all been like, and then we tried to get our husbands to watch it after we watched it. So did Desiree.
Well, that's true. And and Daniel got into it too, just because I started watching it, and then he would sort of be in the room and be like, do you mind if I watch? And be like, okay, that's cool. And then by the end, he's like, do you want to watch Big Little Lies?
Yeah.
Oh, but I have this handful of popcorn that I really
Just
want
eat
to
it. Eat the popcorn.
Eat the popcorn.
Do it.
Eat the popcorn.
As Amanda says, eat the cake.
Yes.
Eat the cake.
And the Fritos.
And the Fritos. Don't leave it on the
but
table.
thank you for all that, Des. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was like a super succinct synopsis of the entire season.
And it was kind of funny that she talked about everything that we just talked about, and we hadn't even heard her voicemail first. Right?
Yeah, and I like that she even mentioned the whole thing about Perry and not really knowing that he was going to be the person, and that it was going to be him, and that she wasn't sure, and that she may not have met him before.
She didn't. She definitely didn't.
Yeah, she definitely didn't. And then I love that she mentions that she definitely couldn't afford that kind of a house, because that is for sure accurate.
And here's
that's also a good point. We haven't really brought that up a ton, so thank you, Desiree, for bringing that up. Yeah.
It's not, as somebody who lives in Monterey myself, I can say that it's not even just affording that house in wherever USA, affording that house in Monterey. No. No, absolutely not. In that neighborhood, nope. But I mean, just like Des, does she go by Des?
Yeah, she goes by Des.
Okay.
She's Des to you now. Kind of like how I drunkenly called Angela Angie a whole bunch of times this weekend. But to be fair, that's because when I talk to Mike, he refers to you as Angie sometimes.
But here's the thing, I don't let people call me that. And for some reason, Mike called me Angie a few times, and now it's a thing, apparently.
Well, I'm sorry. Once I was sober, though, by the second night, I think Jay was like, I don't think she likes that. And I was like,
I don't care, actually. It's fine. You can call me that. It's my parents call me it sometimes, so cool.
I prefer Angela.
Angela.
I do too.
It's just not my nickname. So if people call me it, I may just not respond. So
yeah.
But not out of rudeness. It's just because that's not normally what you're used to calling
call me that. So it just may not know you're calling me.
Right.
But
Hi, Amanda. Hi, Angela. Hi, Shandy.
I think the last part's my favorite. Hi, Shandy. Whatever, Shandy.
I mean, he didn't meet me, so it's fair. Hi, Angela.
But I also wonder, if you did it in any order, if the third one was always going to be hey,
Mom,
I'm done. Yeah. Anyone else you need me to say hello to?
I have been stalking you, Shandy, since you've been training for the marathon, and I did wonder if Monterey was the Monterey of Big Little Lies, but I didn't want to ask in case it wasn't.
It is. It 100% is. But
Monterey, Indiana.
So I knew it was in California. I just didn't know if Monterey was a real place.
So, okay, where they're driving all the time?
That's that's where you ran.
That's where I ran the marathon. That's not Monterey. That's Big Sur. Yeah. So they don't actually live, because if they lived there, their kids would not go to school in Monterey, which apparently, according to the show, has these amazing public schools, which whatever.
Can't be true.
I think they're fine, but I don't know.
Normal.
Yeah, I think they're just normal, but I don't actually know because I don't work in.
Also, the soundtrack when they're driving Oh God,
The
so
soundtrack
good.
of everything.
Yeah.
That show has the best
The
soundtrack.
You can I
Download
look through
it.
Spotify or whatever, but they did a
Yeah.
show soundtrack. Yeah.
So it's
Guys, I love
somebody
this
put
show.
together a soundtrack playlist on Spotify.
That's what it is.
Guys, I'm really emotional about this show right now.
Oh my God. All right, let's hear what Maggie has to say.
Yeah.
Hey Amanda, Shandy, and Colleen. This is Maggie calling in. I literally just closed the book of Big Little Lies. I just finished the book. It was good. I really liked it. It has some differences from the show. I think I like the show better, which is weird, but a little weird, I guess, because usually the book is better. So yeah, I think I like the show a little bit better, but it was still a really good book. And so just wondering if you guys have gotten farther with the book. And I don't know, I missed you guys last week. Don't take a week off. No, I understand that you needed to. And I was very sad not to be in Raleigh, but I will be there next year. Come hell or high water, I will be there because I've missed 2 years in a row and it sucks. So, and I'm sad but yeah, so I can't wait to hear some more about it and can't wait to listen to the show. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
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 Next year,
I'll be there
everybody.
And Shandy will be there too.
I think next year we want to kind of time it with Westworld. So hopefully,
Oh, right.
yeah, hopefully
If
you guys.
Westworld has a normal shooting schedule and produces something content wise.
Yeah, my guess, and this is just Jay and I were talking about this. Our guess is that they will probably take over because Leftovers took over Game of Thrones' normal spot. So we think that they'll take over that same time slot. That
Like
If
in
they
April,
production wise
starting
can
in
get back on track.
Right.
that's I don't know. You guys might, even if you were afraid of all of us this time, you might have to come down next year.
We were not.
Cool.
I was not.
I know.
I was sort of a zombie for the first day and a half, but then I got better.
Cool. It happened.
And then I got
Actually,
once I had my belongings with me again.
Once I had clothing.
actually, and
What your suitcases will do to your morale.
It's so true.
we missed this on the last episode that we did. For Joanne, just to follow up with her email, she said she had a great time at the annual get-together in Raleigh. I want to give a shout-out to Amanda for winning Cards Against Humanity and note that she won by playing the card Strong Female Characters. And because I picked that card without knowing it was hers, because obviously the broadcast tie-in, as the winner of that hand. Woo! Woo! But
It's all because of you,
Joanne did me a solid.
you actually did. You had a lot of really awesome luck with that. The Miley Cyrus card, which was so perfect. Then you had the strong female characters.
So to be fair, the card down was Hannah Montana's new movie.
In 50, something like that.
She's worried about what?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you just it tied in so perfectly, and then you had the strong female characters that Joanne happened to pick, and then the very last one was the one that I did, right? And
no,
it was
you did my first win was yours, the patriarchy one.
No. The one that we finished on me, and it was Who's My Worst Enemy, right?
Maybe
something like that. And you picked
I know my
me.
the first one I won was yours.
Oh, I got you for two.
Yeah, so
and I did. You picked Daniel, or Daniel picked you, or something? Wasn't there some collusion going on?
And
there?
she picked one of mine.
I picked his. I picked his.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I don't know. I just did.
Amanda did really well.
Super well.
I really it's always one of those games where I always feel like I'm really clever and I'm really funny and I put down ones and I'm like, I'm going to win. And I never win. So I'm like, I just needed to find my audience and I found my audience. You guys get me. You get my humor. You get my wit, and I loved it.
Sad dragons.
Sad fat dragon with no friends.
With no friends.
That's what I felt like. I always felt like the sad fat dragon with no friends.
Now you've got all your friends.
And now I have friends
now you're
that think I'm funny.
skinny, happy dragon with a lot of friends.
So now the dragon's on the treadmill, getting in shape.
And he has a lot of friends. And he's really
there may be some Rocky music playing in the background. Chugging raw eggs.
Oh my god. All right. On that note, Anybody else have anything to say for the Big Little Lies topic? Otherwise, we're going to call it a night, call it a day, a night, or whatever you're listening to this for this portion of the discussion, and we can always pick it back up whenever somebody gives more feedback.
It's a great show. You should watch it if you haven't, and it's a great book. You should read it if you haven't.
Okay, good, because it seems like we've had a couple of people who've said that they prefer this show, and I finally got the book from the library. I was
it's still a great read.
I was on the waiting list. I got the large print was the one that became available first. So I have the book for
isn't that what Maggie told you to do?
That's like,
that was someone suggested.
I think that was Maggie's suggestion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm all about the large print. It's
helps your eyes.
yeah, there's that too. Okay, so I was like, I got the book, and then we had all this feedback about how the show was better, and I was like, I have a stack of books to read. Like, do I want to dedicate time to it if everyone's saying that?
No, the show is just different. It's just more like enriching character-wise, but the book is still a really good mystery, a really good and like fun story to read.
Cool.
You'll just get a lot more like character, like development with the TV show, but that's more on the actor's part. That's not.
It's usually the opposite. That's so interesting.
So it's still a really good book, though. And I read the book when I found out about the show, so it wasn't like that I like read the book like a long time ago. Like I heard the show was coming out, and I was like, "Oh, it looks like an interesting show." But before the show came out, I like picked up the book and like read it. So
cool. I think the next thing that we're going to probably all collectively check out is The Handmaid's Tale.
My cousin just sent that to me.
It's supposed to be spectacular.
The book, I love the book. I read the book twice in college. I loved it so much.
Really?
Yeah, we had to read it. We had to read it.
It was part of my
not in grade school, in high school.
Yeah, it was like my freshman year English class at Marist, and I loved it so much I kept it and I read it again.
You didn't know there was a book?
No, not until Amanda said it.
Oh my God. Wait, are you kidding?
Yeah, I had no idea.
We had to read it in 9th grade English class. It was like a major like project.
Well, we never, it was never assigned to me, and I've never read it.
Actually, I take it back. I read it sophomore year because I took a dual English history class where we read all literature that was based on history and time travel, and we would like talk about it, like what the historical context of like why that person envisioned the future they did.
Cool.
It was part of like the 1984 like so we read The Handmaid's Tale, we read 1984. It was part of like my 9th grade English like in high school.
Time Machine, Brave New World, like that whole like envisioning the future, but like what about your
It was probably a little too much for me to be reading in high school, but
that's a little
read
intense.
It. Yeah.
Because you figure when you're a freshman, you're what, 14. 15?
Yeah.
Like that's a little heavy.
It was heavy, but which is why I have yet to watch the Hulu show. I think I need to just buckle down and like whip it out in one day because it's going to be a lot for me.
Will you whip it out to the right or the left?
Probably to the left.
Okay.
We'll see.
I hear that's what everybody else does.
That's
it's
what I hear
like
too. I'm a conformist.
Not whipped out.
Yes, we know. We're just kidding.
I'll just pick out some like basketball shorts so we can hang free.
Oh my God.
That's what the cool cats are doing.
Yes. Oh, Shandy, I meant to ask you on the last episode that we did, 41.0, if you also, because we were talking about underwear, if you also run commando like Mike, but...
Okay, actually, interesting. No.
Okay, there we go.
Answer question.
But
not that interesting.
Do you guys remember when I was talking about like giving myself like an almost UTI when I did my 20-mile run?
Oh yes. Boy, yeah.
And I was talking to my friend about that, and she's like, "Are you sure it's because you were dehydrated?" Because she's like, "I don't think that's what it was." I was like, "Well, I went to the doctor for that once, and like I was really thirsty. Like I don't know, that's kind of what they said." And she was like, "Okay, like what underwear were you wearing?"
Oh,
it was
boy.
probably more. It was more having to do with like, like just stuff like
ventilation.
Yeah. And I was like, shit, what underwear was I wearing? I was wearing cotton underwear. There you go. Like, screw the cotton underwear. Sorry, but that does not, whisk away moisture. And so anyway, she's like, no, you should run. You know how they have like shorts have, running shorts have like a built-in thing. And I was like, yeah, even when I never wear shorts really, but even when I did, I would still wear underwear because it just feels weird to just have that weird thing. But I'm gonna try. So
Cool.
we'll see.
All right. So on that note, if anybody has any, if you guys have anything else to contribute to our Big Little Lies discussion, please give us a call at 331-276-2373, or you can email us, thebroadcasters3@gmail.com. You can also join the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/JandJackGroup, and comment on the episode thread there. Special thanks to the patrons. Again, before I do anything else, let me thank Molly the Millennial, Tack from Tokyo, and Eckhart Rinkner. Thank you guys so much. If you'd like to become a patron, you can do so by going to patreon.com/JandJack, or, because we understand that not everybody can do that, but everybody shops on Amazon at some point. So if you want to, if you would like to support us that way, you can go to jandjack.com/Amazon, and that helps us out as well. All right. On that note, guys, thanks for listening. I'm Colleen.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Shandy.
I'm Angela.
Good night. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
See you next time.
Yeah.